We've seen Narad arriving at the palace of King Asvapati and singing to Asvapati and his queen, and then Savitri arriving. And there was a long speech by Narad asking who she is, where she's come from, all this. And he can see, he shows that he can see that something wonderful has happened to her. So, but her father, first of all, tells that, well, we sent her out a year ago, and now she's coming back. We don't know what has happened. And then they ask Savitri, please, to tell. And she tells that she has met Shraddhavan in the wood, that he's the son of an exiled king, Dyumatsena. No? And then Asvapati answers him, answers the seer. And we read that long passage of the answer of Asvapati. And Savitri tells what she's found out, and then her father gives his blessing. No? King Asvapati is a great rishi, and when he hears this name of Shraddhavan, he looks quietly inside himself, and he sees a dark black cloud. But then he also sees that that black cloud is chased away by a tremendous light, powerful light. So he gives his blessing. And he gives it somehow with a warning, saying that even if things seem not to be very, very good, still, in the end, everything will work out all right. And then Narad perhaps might have said something, but Asvapati tells him, please don't say anything now. You might have some knowledge, but don't share it with us. It's too difficult for us, for human beings, to bear the burden of knowing things in advance. But at the end, he says, but if there is some misfortune pending, if something bad might happen, and there's something we can do to avoid it, then please you tell us. That was the last thing that we read last time. And when Asvapati stops speaking, Narad doesn't answer. That's right, the last line on page 435. So, 25, sorry. So now I'm going to continue from there. Page 425, the last line. He said, Asvapati said, and Narad answered not the king. But now the queen, alarmed, lifted her voice. O seer, thy bright arrival has been timed to this high moment of a happy life. Then let the speech benign of griefless spheres confirm this blithe conjunction of twin stars, and sanction joy with thy celestial voice. Here, drag not in the peril of our thoughts. Let not our words create the doom they fear. Here is no cause for dread, no chance for grief to raise her ominous head and stare at love. A single spirit in a multitude, happy is Shraddhavan mid earthly men, whom Savitri has chosen for her mate. And fortunate the forest hermitage, where, leaving her palace and riches and a throne, my Savitri will dwell and bring in heaven. Then let thy blessing put the immortal seal on these bright lives' unstained felicity, pushing the ominous shadow from their days. Too heavy falls a shadow on man's heart. It dares not be too happy upon earth. It dreads the blow dogging too vivid joys. A lash unseen in fate's extended hand. The danger lurking in fortune's proud extremes. An irony in fate, in life's indulgent smile, and trembles at the laughter of the gods. Or if crouches unseen a panther doom, if wings of evil brood above that house, then also speak, that we may turn aside and rescue our lives from hazard of wayside doom and chance entanglement of an alien fate. And Narad slowly answered to the queen, what help is in prevision to the driven? Safe doors cry opening near, the doomed pass on. A future knowledge is an added pain, a torturing burden, and a fruitless light on the enormous scene that fate has built. The eternal poet, universal mind, has paged each line of his imperial act. Invisible the giant actors tread, and man lives like some secret player's mask. He knows not even what his lips shall speak, for a mysterious power compels his steps, and life is stronger than his trembling soul. None can refuse what the stark force demands. Her eyes are fixed upon her mighty aim. No cry or prayer can turn her from her path. She has leaped an arrow from the bow of God. We'll go back to the top of page 426. You will read, Rosa? No? Suresh? Yeah.
He said, and Nara answered not the king. But now the queen, alarmed, lifted her voice. Oh, say, thy bride Auroville has been tamed to this high moment of a happy life. Then let the speech be
Benign.
benign of griefless spare. Confirm this blade conjunction of two stars and sanction joy with thy celestial voice.
Why is the queen alarmed? She's alarmed because she's noticed somehow what her husband, Asvapati, Savitri's father, is saying, and she's noticing that Narad is not speaking anything to contradict. No? But she too, she asks, she says, "O seer, Narad, you are a seer. You can see the future just as you can see the past and the present. And you have arrived here. Your bright arrival has been timed. It's come exactly at the same time as this high moment of a happy life, when Savitri returns to tell her family that she's found the man she's going to marry." This is a high moment of this happy life of Savitri. So she asks him, she says, "Let the speech benign of griefless spheres." Your speech, she says, if you give a blessing, your speech is coming with goodwill, something that is benign. It's not dangerous, it's not harmful. It is something that is bringing blessings, no? And it's bringing blessings from those higher spheres, those higher worlds where there is no grief, no suffering, no unhappiness. No? So she asks him to confirm, say yes to this blithe conjunction of two stars. A conjunction is a term from astronomy or astrology. When we here on the earth observe two stars coming very, very close to each other in the sky, this is a conjunction, a coming together. And of course, if we believe that the stars have their influence on our human lives below, no? Then when two good stars, auspicious stars, come close together, then that's bringing blessing. No? So she says, Savitri and Satyavan, that's like two auspicious stars, and they're coming together. It will be very good for the whole earth. So you please give your blessing. No? She says, you sanction, you say yes to their joy with your celestial voice, your heavenly voice. If he gives his blessing, that will make the whole occasion that much more powerful in good vibrations, good omens.
She said the bride arrival has been timed, but actually in the Indian mythology, the Nar comes at that proper time.
Yes. Yes, and that's what she's saying, you know. It looks as if it's by accident, but of course it's not by accident. It has, he has come deliberately at this time, and he's come with a purpose. Yes. So. Berbel, will you read?
Here dwell not in the peril of our thoughts. Let not our words create the doom they fear.
You can read the next two lines also.
Here is no cause for dread, no chance for grief, to raise your ominous head and stare in love.
So, I don't know whether she's saying this to Narad or whether she's saying this to her husband or just saying it in general. Let us not pull in unnecessarily here, no? The danger of our thoughts if we think that something bad might happen. No? This is not the moment for it. We shouldn't. Don't let our own words, by saying things like that, you know, we even create that negative vibration. Mother
said, fear attracts fear.
Yes, exactly. So if you express your fear, that makes it more powerful, and that will create just that bad thing that you're afraid of. And she says there's no cause for that. In this meeting of Savitri and Shraddhavan, there's no cause for dread, for fear. We have this word dreadful. Dreadful is something that makes you fear. There's no chance for grief. There's nothing to be unhappy about. No chance for grief to wake up. Grief has been sleeping, no? There's no reason for her to wake up, lift up her ominous head. Ominous, it comes from that word omen. An omen can be a good omen or a bad omen, but the word ominous, it is always negative. It means something that is bringing a threat of something bad. So there's no reason for her to stare at love and the grief, to stare at love and bring in her bad vibrations. You like to read?
A singing spirit in a multitude. Happy is a Shraddhavan made at the man, whom Savitri has chosen for her mate, and fortunate the forest hermitage, where living her palace and riches and a throne. My Savitri will dwell and bring in heaven.
Yes. So she says, happy is Shraddhavan. What a blessed person. And he's a single spirit. He must be an outstanding person in all the multitude. No? He's blessed amongst all earthly men, all men on earth, because Savitri has chosen him to be her mate. And that hermitage, that simple retreat in the forest where she will go and live, is also fortunate. She will bring blessings there. No? She will leave her palace, her father, the king's home, and she will leave behind all her riches, her throne. She will dwell in that simple forest hermitage, and she will bring in heaven there where she will live. So it is nice to notice that although they're a king and a queen and they live in a palace and rule a country and have everything that kings and queens have. They have no objection as such to their daughter going to live in the forest, in a simple hermitage with the son of an exiled king. They don't object to that at all. And the queen, very, very graciously, she says he must be a very special person. Savitri has chosen him. It also shows a great deal of confidence in her daughter's choice, no? But they had to have that confidence, otherwise they wouldn't have sent her out and told her, nobody's coming to ask for your hand, so you yourself have to go and find the one. So they have great confidence in her discrimination and the fact that she will choose the destined one. No? Yes.
Then let their blessing put their importuns sail on this bright
Lives.
unexciting fancy, pushing their ominous shadow from their days.
So she's speaking to Narad. She says, your blessing, let your blessing put the seal. You know, when an official has to give his permission, he will put his seal. So she says, if you give your blessing, that will be the seal, the mark of approval from all the heavenly beings you will be representing and saying yes on their behalf. You will be saying yes to the unstained felicity, the happiness without any shadow. No? And the fact that you give your blessing will push any threatening shadow away from their life together. And then she speaks about the shadow, the kind of shadow that we human beings experience. Sergei.
Too heavy falls a shadow on man's heart. It dares not to be happy upon earth. It dreads the glow burning to be the joys. A lash unseen in fate's extended hand. The danger lurking in fortune's proud extremes. In irony, in life's indulgent smile, and trembles every laughter of the gods.
Yes. She says that when we feel that shadow, it weighs too heavily on our human hearts, no? In fact, here on earth, we somehow don't dare to be too happy. We have the feeling that if we are too happy, we'll be inviting some misfortune. No? If our joys, if our happiness is too intense, then we have the feeling that behind it is coming some disaster, some blow. I don't have the right to be this much happy. Something bad is going to happen. No? Something like a lash, a whip. There you are having all your joys, and along comes somebody with a whip. It is fate. Fate is coming to strike you with her whip. No? Because there's a danger hidden if we experience proud extremes. If we are too fortunate, then the corresponding misfortune has to come. And if life seems to be smiling at us and saying, oh, how blessed you are, we have the feeling that there's an irony in it, that life is saying, yes, be happy now, you will see what happens next, what comes next. If life looks indulgent. Yes, yes, enjoy, enjoy. And we tremble, not exactly at the laughter of the gods, but at the feeling that the gods are laughing at us. Poor things. Something like that. Yes, Gopal.
Or couches unseen panther blooms. The flames of evil brood about that house. Then also speak that we may turn aside and rescue our lives from hazard of wayside doom. And chance entanglement of an alien fate.
Oh, but she says, give your blessing. Don't let us have fear. But if there's something bad lying in wait for us, like a leopard, a panther, that wants to spring out and surprise us, ambush us, or if above that house, she means Satyavan's family, if there is some misfortune hanging over that family, if these wings of evil, of misfortune, are brooding, the bird spreads its wings and something will come out, the eggs will hatch. So when some wings are brooding, something is going to hatch. So if there's some misfortune is going to come to that house, then please you tell us, you speak, so that we can turn aside. We won't go ahead with this marriage. We will rescue our lives from this chance. Hazard is a risk, but it's something that happens accidentally. Wayside doom. Just accidentally we get ourselves involved in some unfortunate family. We should avoid that. We should avoid the chance entanglement, getting tangled up, involved in an alien fate of somebody who has nothing to do with us. So we won't connect ourselves with those people if there's misfortune brooding above the house. Nowadays, before marriages, they consult the astrologer and they compare the stars and is it going to be all right for these two people to come together? So if the astrologer gives his blessing, then they go ahead. But if he points out that, oh no, in that family there's this or that danger, then they will go for somebody else. So Narad will answer now. Will you read, please?
And Narad slowly answered to the queen, what help is in previous years to the river? Step flows, grave opening near, the bloom wood passed on.
Let's pause there. So he slowly answers. He says, what use is it telling the future to people who are being driven by fate? Prevision. It means seeing in advance. How can it help people who are being driven, who have no choice? In such a case where there's really fate involved, there may be safe doors and people inviting you to pass through, but you won't be able to help yourself. You will be, that if you are really doomed, you will pass on. You won't follow the way out. There's a Greek story which illustrates that very powerfully. It's the story of Oedipus. When he was born, a wise man like Narad looked at his stars and told that this boy has a very, very bad fate. He's going to murder his father and marry his mother. So the parents immediately, they wanted to do what was actually customary in those days. Nobody actually wanted to murder the baby, but they would put him out on the hillside, expose him, leave him there so that he would die. But of course the shepherd who was given that job of putting the child out in the wilderness, he thought, what a lovely baby. And how can I do that? And he didn't know about the prophecy. So he gave the child to another shepherd, a friend of his. And that fellow took that child to his kingdom, his country, on the other side of the hill, far away actually. And he offered to the king and queen there, and they didn't have any children. So they adopted that boy, and they never told him that he was adopted. Perhaps that was their mistake. Well, they should have told him. And he didn't, he didn't know. Yeah. Of course, when he was a baby, he didn't know about the prophecy. But when he grew up, he came to know of it. I forget how he came to know of it. So then he thought, oh my God, how can that happen? I have to leave immediately. Otherwise, it's going to somehow come about that I will kill my father, be the death of my father, and I will marry my mother. So he went off traveling. And in his adventures on his way, accidentally, he killed his father, his real father. And then he came to the next town, and there was the queen with no husband. So he married her. And that was his mother. So because he was trying to escape from his doom, somebody had warned him, somebody had said, somebody had given a prophecy. But what use is the prophecy if something is really fixed by the gods, if the doom is there? You can't escape it. That's what he says. In such a case, Mahalingam.
Future knowledge is an added pain. The torturing burden and the fruitless days, and the enormous sin that fear death brings.
So just knowing in advance is only an added pain. It's something very difficult to bear, no? It's like a burden, a heavy load that you have to bear, and it's always torturing you. And it's fruitless. It's no use knowing in advance, no? It's just casting a scene, a light on a scene, like a scene in the theater. Fate has set it all up. This is the drama that's going to be acted out. What is the use of you knowing in advance? Yeah. Will you read? Yes?
The eternal poet, universal mind, has paid each line of its impeded act. Invisible giant actors trade, and man lives like some secret player's mask. He knows not even what his lips shall speak.
Yes, we'll pause there at the full stop. So fate has built this scene, put all the scenery, everything is set for this drama. And this drama which is being acted out is a drama which has been composed by a great poet. Not by Kalidasa, not by Shakespeare, not by any of the modern poets. The eternal poet, the great artist who is expressing himself in this universe. And he's expressing himself through universal mind. No? He's already written it all out. Everything that's going to happen in this drama. No? Each line he has written already, no? Of this imperial act. He's like an emperor. He's arranged everything is going to happen like this. A very, very powerful ruler as this poet. And the actors, we don't even see who are the actors. The actors are invisible. No? They are playing their parts. And we are only like the masks that they are wearing. And we don't even know what words are going to come out of our mouths. Because the actors, those cosmic powers who are the actors, they will speak our words for us. No? Man lives like some secret player. Player is an actor. No? So, poor human being, he doesn't even know what his lips shall speak, what words are going to come out of his mouth. Joel.
For a mysterious power compels his steps, and life is stronger than his trembling soul. None can refuse what the star force demands. Her eyes are fixed upon her mighty aim. No cry or prayer can turn her from her path. She has leaped an arrow from the bow of God.
Yes. In this drama, if we are among these doomed, these ones who have been chosen by fate to act as the mask for some cosmic power, we are compelled, we are forced and driven by this mysterious power. And oh, the soul may tremble and wish that only nice things happen, but life is stronger. It will force the actor, the being, to follow the path. No one can refuse what the stark force demands. That stark is a difficult word. I never know how to explain really stark. It is strong, and at the same time it is it's very plain and unadorned. There's no prettiness to disguise it. It's like a mountainside where there's only sheer rock, you know. It's just what it is. So there's this force which is driving. It doesn't care about anything else. It just demands, fulfill your role. Her eyes, that force of fate, her eyes are fixed upon her mighty aim. We have no idea what is the purpose towards that which that great force is driving. And we may cry, we may protest, we may pray for changes, but nothing can turn her from her path. She has to go this way and no other way, because she has leaped an arrow from the bow of God. God has set like a warrior, and he's chosen this arrow and he has let it go. And he's let it go so it can only go where he has sent it. There's no intervention possible. So that is the answer that Narad gives. What does Sri Aurobindo say about it? Would you like to read?
His words were days who lived and was
To grieve.
and felt by home the fraying wheels of life, and the long restlessness of transcendent things, and the trouble and fashion of the
So Narad speaks like an immortal, somebody who doesn't have to grieve. He's not like an ordinary human being. We are all forced to grieve, to know sorrow at certain times in our life. So we feel some reluctance to cause sorrow to anybody else. We know what grief is. But he is absolutely calm and impartial. He's standing back, no? He speaks like one of those people, those beings who are not forced to grieve. One of those powers who help by calm. They are not involved in all the trouble of this world. They are detached. They're at a distance. The way that they support what's going on in this world is by keeping calm and quiet and steady and not being disturbed by anything that happens. We get disturbed, but they don't get disturbed. He says the swaying wheels of life, as if life is driving a chariot, going very, very fast, and the wheels are unsteady and going this way and that way. So something calm and steady keeps it on its way despite all that. And they, by their calm, they also help the long restlessness of transient things, things that don't last long, that change. Our lives are transient. We live for a short time, and all our experiences last for a more or less short time. So we tend to be restless. We want things to happen quickly. We want things to happen the way we want them to happen. Behind are these calm beings who are just seeing the way things have to be, and they're supporting it by their silence and their calm. All the trouble and passion of this unquiet world. So Narad is one of those. And he can speak like one of those. But his words have a completely different effect on Savitri's poor mother. Alexei, will you read?
As thou, her own bosom, were pierced in the mother's soul, the ancient human sentence, strike her child, has sweetness that deserve another fate, only a larger measure, giving of tears.
So it's as if that arrow has gone straight into her own heart. Savitri's mother, the queen, no? As often. She feels the ancient human sentence that you have to suffer. She sees that striking her child. Mothers are prepared to carry suffering for themselves, but they always want to protect their children. They don't want to see their children suffer. So she sees this beautiful, sweet, adorable Savitri. She feels that sweetness and that beauty and that loving nature and everything that Savitri is deserves a better fate, another fate. But in fact, she sees that Savitri is being given only a larger measure of tears, that she's going to have to suffer more. So I think we will stop there for today. He said, and Narad answered not the king. But now the queen, alarmed, lifted her voice. O seer, thy bright arrival has been timed to this high moment of a happy life. Then let the speech benign of griefless spheres confirm this blithe conjunction of two stars, and sanction joy with thy celestial voice. Here drag not in the peril of our thoughts. Let not our words create the doom they fear. Here is no cause for dread, no chance for grief to raise her ominous head and stare at love. A single spirit in a multitude. Happy is Shraddhavan mid earthly men, whom Savitri has chosen for her mate. And fortunate the forest hermitage, where, leaving her palace and riches and a throne, my Savitri will dwell and bring in heaven. Then let thy blessing put the immortal seal on these bright lives, unstained felicity, pushing the ominous shadow from their days. Too heavy falls a shadow on man's heart. It dares not be too happy upon earth. It dreads the blow dogging too vivid joys, a lash unseen in fate's extended hand. The danger lurking in fortune's proud extremes, an irony in life's indulgent smile, and trembles at the laughter of the gods. Or if crouches unseen a panther doom, if wings of evil brood above that house, then also speak, that we may turn aside and rescue our lives from hazard of wayside doom and chance entanglement of an alien fate. And Narad slowly answered to the queen, "What help is in prevision to the driven? Safe doors cry, opening near, the doomed pass on. A future knowledge is an added pain, a torturing burden, and a fruitless light on the enormous scene that fate has built. The eternal poet, universal mind, has paged each line of his imperial act. Invisible the giant actors tread, and man lives like some secret player's mask. He knows not even what his lips shall speak, for a mysterious power compels his steps, and life is stronger than his trembling soul. None can refuse what the stark force demands. Her eyes are fixed upon her mighty aim. No cry or prayer can turn her from her path. She has leaped an arrow from the bow of God. His words were theirs who live unforced to grieve, and help by calm the swaying wheels of life and the long restlessness of transient things, and the trouble and passion of the unquiet world. As though her own bosom were pierced, the mother saw the ancient human sentence strike her child. Her sweetness that deserved another fate, only a larger measure given of tears.